excuse my French, but fuck the cherry picking.
Say it.
Best fight the best. Best fight the best. And when I take out this kid, obviously I want to fight the next big name. Who's the biggest name after Lopez? No problem. Line them up like dominoes and I'll knock them down.
George Kambosos might have pulled off the biggest upset in all of 2021 when Ferocious beat Teofimo Lopez, capturing 3 of the 4 major world titles, as well as the Ring Magazine belt, effectively making George Kambosos Jr. the man who beat the man at 135. Many believe, myself included, Teofimo Lopez didn't prepare himself properly for his mandatory fight with Kambosos, yet it does not take away George Kambosos had a career best performance. So the logical question, what is next for George Kambosos Jr.?
I'll tell you who's going to be the biggest name. You're looking at him right now. I'll be the biggest name because I hold all the aces. So I'll fight myself.
Hey, what's going on, Ringsiders? This is your host, Boxing's Objective Observer, and welcome back to Ringside Stories. Feel free to subscribe, thumbs up, and hit that notification bell for the latest here on Ringside Stories. Thanks so much for your support in advance, and welcome to the channel. In the ever-changing landscape that is the world of boxing, opportunities come and go. Becoming Australia's first unified world champion in close to 10 years, 28-year-old George Kambosos holds all the keys to the lightweight division as it stands right now.
No rematch clause. I can do what I want now. I can pick and choose who I want to fight, but we'll be chasing the best guys. We don't want to duck or dodge anybody, and I've proven it, time after time. But they do have to come to Australia. That's the difference now, because I've earned that. I've earned my stripes. I've earned to take these back home and do it in front of an 80,000, seat stadium, in Sydney or Melbourne. So, I'll fight whoever, but you got to come see me, the Emperor.
George Kambosos Jr. was IBF mandatory challenger for Teofimo Lopez, thus Ferocious does not have to fight Teofimo Lopez in an immediate rematch. So assuming George Kambosos Jr. moves on from Teofimo Lopez entirely, what is next for George Ferocious Kambosos? Today we'll discuss 3 options for George Kambosos' next fight. Let's get into it. Number 1. Ryan Garcia, coming off a 7th round TKO win over Britain's Luke Campbell at the start of 2021, picking up the vacant 135-pound WBC interim world title. Dropped early in the fight, King Rai showed resilience, dropping the 2012 Olympic gold medalist before becoming the first to ever stop Luke Campbell as a pro who has effectively retired after the Ryan Garcia fight. Garcia was scheduled to defend his interim title in July of 2021 against Javier Fortuna, yet pulled out citing mental health issues. Then November 27, 2021 rolled around, and Ryan Garcia made it clear who he wanted next for his comeback fight in 2022. Lopez versus Kambosos was bound to go down earlier, but even then, the ever-confident George Kambosos relayed his message to Ryan Garcia personally.
I know he's backing me. I know he wants me to win this fight. I gave him my word after I beat Lopez and I take all his belts. I said, I'll give you the first crack. As long as you're doing your thing, I'll give you that first crack. But in Australia, once I have all the belts, I have all the aces, they got to come see me. I've been traveling now, it's time to change it.
So we'll see whether George Kambosos Jr. is a man of his word. As far as the fight, you got 2 young undefeated fighters with near identical records, though it must be said Ryan Garcia holds more wins by knockout, whereas George Kambosos has wins against better quality opposition, defeating 3 former world champions back-to-back in Kambosos' 3 last fights, all of them on the road. Although Ryan is still raw, he does possess speed, accuracy, and decent punching power. Sharing the ring with pound-for-pound great Saul Canelo Alvarez under the same tutelage of Eddie Reynoso will surely help develop Ryan's talent. The fact Ryan Garcia has some sway, charisma, and boxing talent would give a potential Kambosos-Garcia fight the potency to make George Kambosos' first title defense a boxing event in Australia to remember, possibly taking the scalp of another undefeated top-level contender in the lightweight division. Number 2. Vasyl Lomachenko. Having held world titles in 3 different weight classes, Vasyl Lomachenko looks to regain what was once his. After losing to Teofimo Lopez in October of 2020, which was a much closer fight than the scorecards imply, Loma returned to action in June of 2021 against 5'11" Masayoshi Nakatani, who not long ago gave Teofimo Lopez all he could handle. The Matrix seemed to have returned to form, utilizing his speed, angles, and elusive footwork, putting an absolute beating on Nakatani before stopping him in round 9.
Like I said, Lopez is overhyped, man. I've been saying it for so long.
He got lucky against Nakatani, and he got super lucky with Lomachenko. I'll tell you now, if Lomachenko turned up like he did yesterday, there would be no Lopez. It would be Kambosos Lomachenko, and we would have had this fight already because Lomachenko would have made sure he didn't get COVID. He would have followed every protocol.
Loma will face yet another former Lopez opponent, former IBF lightweight world champion, hard-hitting Ghanaian Richard Commey. Should Vasyl Lomachenko beat Commey, a showdown in Australia against George Kambosos Jr. would be much intriguing and probably not hard to make, as Lomachenko, like many Ukrainian pro boxers, is used to being on the road, having fought in 3 different countries since turning pro in 2013. Against Teofimo Lopez, Loma was gun-shy in the first 7 rounds, as the takeover carries a big punch, which the imminent threat to Loma was clearly visible. Also, Lomachenko dealt with a shoulder injury that might have hampered his performance. When fully healthy though, Loma will offer George Kambosos an entire different set of challenges, which if Kambosos can nullify or successfully deal with, would no doubt signify as his biggest win of his career. Kambosos has proven he can trade up close, and apart from round 10 against Teofimo Lopez, Ferocious showed a decent chin and plenty of fighting spirit, which are attributes that Kambosos surely will have to tap into if the fight with Vasyl Lomachenko goes long, especially in the championship rounds. Number 3, Devin Haney.
Well, I'll find the right guy. You know, the Devin Haney fight is probably the most likable fight for me. That's the fight I love. And we'll see what happens.
The fight not just George Kambosos, but also many boxing fans would want to see next. One fight may be a rematch for all of the marbles at 135.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's the type of fight that you will travel for. You know, when it's for undisputed, it's for all the belts. He has majority of them. Of course, you know, if I have to get on the road, then I will. But you know, obviously, everything has to make sense on both ends. And of course, that's a huge fight to get on the road for.
Headed back and forth with rival Teofimo Lopez before he got taken over.
You never fought anybody.
Okay. How'd I get the belt?
True.
How'd I get the belt?
How?
Because Loma didn't want to fight me. The same way you don't want to fight me.
Devin the Dream Haney will look to make his 4th successful defense of his WBC lightweight world title against interim WBC titleist Jojo Diaz, who will be the 3rd former world champion Devin Haney faces in equal as many fights back-to-back. Haney currently holds a record of 26-0 with 15 wins by stoppage, but don't let his relatively low knockout ratio fool you, as the Dream makes up with excellent boxing skills, an elusive defense, formidable footwork, and athleticism. In his recent outing in May 2021 against Jorge Linares, Devin Haney was criticized by some for a somewhat shaky performance. At the end of round 10, Haney got buckled, reminiscent of a 2014 silly dance by Floyd Mayweather Jr. versus Marcos Maidana. Sure, Devin Haney was hurt, yet Jorge Linares never managed to drop him, which Linares was able to do against Vasyl Lomachenko. And so Devin Haney weathered the storm after putting on a boxing clinic for the first 2/3 of the fight against a vastly experienced pro and a former 3-weight world champion in Jorge Linares. It must be said though, Devin Haney made the mistake looking for the KO, similar to how Teofimo Lopez was looking for the KO in his fight against George Kambosos. Sure, Devin Haney will have learned from Teofimo's mistake and getting into his boxing utilizing his jab, footwork, and lateral movement if he were to face George Kambosos next. In all likelihood, Kambosos versus Haney would be more of a tactical chess match, where not skills but other attributes such as grit, aggression, determination, and hunger might be the deciding factor to win all of the belts that will be on the line. If that is the proposition that is offered to boxing fans, George Kambosos Jr. versus Devin Haney in a packed Australian stadium will be enticing indeed.
Kambosos is just better than what everybody thought. You know, he went in there, he was hungry. Sometimes, you know, a guy can have more skills, whatever the case may be, but when a guy comes in hungrier and wanting it more, it shows what can happen. The winner of this fight will go on to fight for undisputed, I feel like, which will be me. But so, you know, I'm just like thriving off of that. That's just motivating me even more. It's giving me the extra push that I need. And I'm ready.
First, however, Devin Haney has to get past Jojo Diaz next. Second, Devin Haney has to be willing to go down under, as George Kambosos does hold all the keys in the current 135-pound landscape and most likely will be a bigger draw in Australia than Devin the Dream Haney currently is in the USA.
All them guys, you know, are good fighters, but when you hold all the aces, you gotta come see. You gotta come see me, and best believe, I've had the hard road. I've had to come to the US. Best believe that they want me, You gotta come down under and fight Kambosos in the big stadiums.
Anyway, these are just my thoughts. What are yours? Who would you like to see the unified lightweight world champion George Kambosos Jr. fight next? Drop your ideas in the comments below and let's have a conversation. If you're new to this channel, we cover boxing and combat sports through mini documentaries, backstories, and much more. So if you enjoy that type of content, feel free to subscribe, thumbs up, and hit that notification bell for the latest here on Ringside Stories. Thanks so much for your support in advance and welcome to the channel. Now, if you've done that already, you're awesome. We already know that. You are the true, undisputed world champion. Till next time, Ringsiders, this is your host, Boxing's Objective Observer with Ringside Stories. Thanks for watching and have a legendary day.